Welcome back to the channel, guys, and in today's video we are going to feature a Pokemon that I have never done on this channel before. So that Pokemon will be Chandelure, and I think this is a really strong Pokemon. I even myself wanted to use it for a very long time but didn't get a chance because every season I wanted to get to Legend and Master League was something that I am good at, so I didn't really wanted to experiment over there. But finally I did get a chance to use one, and I must say that I'm impressed with this Pokemon, especially with those all the fairy types and steel types which have been in the meta forever. So this thing really did wonders for me, and I had really enjoyed a lot using this Pokemon. I think I was able to one shot a lot of things and then melt those steel types away. So a really fun team to use, and especially a fun Pokemon to use indeed. And if you happen to enjoy this video and these battles, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And I also have a Discord channel of my own, so if you want to drop in and say hi, make sure to do over that as well. And yeah, without further delays, let's start with the battles and see how the battle goes. So let's start with the first battle of the day, and we immediately pick up a negative lead. And I like to swap into Gyarados, but since it was my first game, I swapped into Chandelure, and it ends up being negative for me because they have a Waterfall Gyarados in their Waterfall Gyarados with them, so it's a negative swap in for us as well. And Chandelure will basically just get deleted with those waterfalls. I mean, we took a shield, but at this stage we are not looking good because Gyarados still will need some shields of this Excadrill to win this matchup, and since Excadrill also had some energy lead, I think we will not be able to do much. So definitely we should swap into Gyarados and just hope, because if the opponent tends to stay in, they will need to burn both the shields if they want to take out our Gyarados. And the best case scenario would be that they would swap into something of their own in the back, and if they are running Waterfall Gyarados like this in the back, then definitely that would be in a favorable spot. So as you can see, they did not really have an answer to Dragon Breath Gyarados in the back, so most likely they would have tend to stay in, and then probably Togekiss and Chandelure can handle both the Pokemons in the back. So definitely a mistake on my part, and you can also run a counter argument that I should have run Waterfall Gyarados, but if I run Waterfall Gyarados, I'll be weak to opposing say something like a Dragon Breath Gyarados in the back. So I felt like the utility for running Dragon Breath Gyarados is more rather than the Waterfall Gyarados. But since it's a meme team, you cannot say a meme team though, because it helped me got a lot of wins. But yeah, definitely Chandelure is a very spicy pick for the Premier Cup. So regardless, we end up taking a loss on that one, but I think there are a lot of wins to follow. So picking up a positive lead this time, and the opponent makes a swap to Dragon Breath Gyarados, and I reciprocate by bringing in the Dragon Breath Gyarados of my own. I could have stay in, but I definitely would want to pair the Togekiss up against that Machamp. Here I do need to make sure that I win the switch advantage, because if not, the Chandelure really shields down. I think Chandelure cannot really handle Machamp. So the opponent is saving their shield, and they barely get to a charge move, hoping it's to be a crunch, but it does not. It does KO. So we are at a shield disadvantage, as well as we are at a switch disadvantage. So I come in with Chandelure just to get some jump start on energy, and they bring in their Machamp, which indicates me that they have something weak to Chandelure in the back. So maybe they are running a Metagross or an Excadrill of their own. So let's see. So they do not shield, and I tried to catch a rock slide, but that did not happen. And they bring in their Metagross, and Metagross will look to completely farm us down. And if they do so, we will be able to get to a flamethrower. So Metagross will decide to shield most likely, because they have two shields at their disposal. And at this stage, since Metagross has farmed us down, my only play would be to call the Meteor Mash bait if they decide to go for a one. But Charms eventually have chunked away at this Metagross, and they do decide to bait, which allows me to shield this particular charge move, which will be a Meteor Mash. But since Incinerates just melts the Metagross away, we will be able to incinerate them down. So calling that bait was really essential for me, and GG's. Moving on to the next one, picking up negative lead yet again, and I decide to swap into Gyarados, and like I said, the opponent is deciding to stay in, and they go for a rock slide. So rock slide does not KO, and Excadrill does not really do much damage with those mud shots. So they decide they will intend invest a shield. So at this stage, I reciprocate a shield of my own, because shields down, Excadrill, the Chandelure can really break apart anything which is there in the back. So at this stage, we throw this Aquatail, and getting a bit of a lag there, but the opponent decides to let go, which is fine for me. I think since we have got rid of this Excadrill, I think my Togekiss will have a lot of play in the back. So I come in with Chandelure just to get ahead on energy, and as I said, like if you manage energy on Chandelure well, I think you'll be able to do pretty well with this team. So in comes Mamoswine. I'm not really sure that why they did not swap into their Mamoswine up against the Gyarados. Um, but it is what it is, and we decide to go for a flame charge, just boosting our attacks, and they will need to land a bulldoze in order to knock us out. So let's see if they decide to do that or not. They decide to go for a bulldoze, which we correctly shield, and since they went for a bulldoze, I can farm some extra energy. So going for this flame charge now, which will definitely be able to knock out the Mammoth, or the swap into Metagross, which absolutely gets deleted. So we will be I don't think that at this range we will be able to survive an avalanche. Oh, they went for a bulldoze, never mind. But Togekiss can clean it up in the back. It does even survive one avalanche, so didn't need to worry about that. So moving on to the next one, picking up a horrible lead, and again doing the safe swap into Gyarados. The opponent makes a swap into their Togekiss. So here I do need to ensure that I win the switch advantage. So I try to time my charge moves well, and fortunately the charm did not sneak in, so this will allow me to get to the Aquatail. I think I also will be able to manage. I also will be able to get to a third Aquatail here. So let's see. Deciding to shield, because obviously you cannot allow Metagross to be paired against the Togekiss. So I don't think that we will be able to win the switch advantage, but at least I think we will be able to get the shield. So yeah, we do get the shield, and now I decide to come in with Chandelure, start getting jump ahead on energy, and we are both even on shields, and they bring in their Metagross, so they must be weak to Chandelure in the back, and these are not very high elo games, so um, i- these are not super competitive, but at least you still get the idea of what to do, and how the team comps are made, because Chandelure is very good against those steel types, as well as those fairy types. It really is weak against to something like Gyarados, and they have a Scizor, so Scizor just gets melt away, and I just do a BM of throwing the flame charge, which will, I think this is double boosted flame charge, so it will KO probably 30 Scizors. So yeah, rip Scizor. So what I was saying is that Chandelure really has a play against a lot of steel types as well as the fairy types, and it can really do a lot of damage with that shadow ball to something like Gyarados, or even those dragon types. And there is nothing in the meta which really which really just blocks Chandelure. It's either taking neutral or super effective damage from it. The con side of it is though that it's really squishy. It cannot really take the charge moves. So even something like a neutral resisted avalanche will do a lot of damage onto the Chandelure. I think I double shielded this because Chandelure is very boosted, and it can really, yeah, it will be putting in a lot of work against whatever Pokemon comes in. So in comes this Dragonite. So Dragonite will just absolutely gets deleted with this Shadow Ball. As you can see, I think it will probably just one shot this thing. So yeah, Dragonite goes down, and in comes the Excadrill, and there is no way for my opponent to. I make the swap because I didn't really want to catch a take the drill run and KO the to KO the Chandelure. But I think that might have been a riskier play, because let's see how it goes, because my thought process was okay, they go down, never mind. So like what I was going to say is that they might have doubled up on their charge moves to throw at the Chandelure, but Chandelure just wins the CMP against pretty much all the thing except for Haxorus, if I'm right. So you don't need to worry about losing the CMP. You can just have a charge move ready and just tip to other Pokemon. So okay, moving on to the next one. I'm just super excited to run this team and run Chandelure, because I've been wanting to run Chandelure for a couple of seasons now. But since This is the first time that I hit legend so soon in the or not so soon, but this is pretty much the first time that I hit legend, and it happened very soon in the season. So I got to experiment with a lot of teams, and have and I have come up with a lot of strategies by using one team and just get really comfortable with it. So um, probably next season I'm going to do much better now that I actually have some battle experience with some of the teams. I'm currently using Haxorus, Snorlax, and Excadrill, which is slightly a different version of the FP6 team of Haxorus, Snorlax, and Metagross. And I really feel like that team is also very good. And I have played around 50 to 60 battles with it. And probably next season I'm going to use the same team. And since now I have some strats with that team, I feel like I'll not be forced to try out different teams unless the meta changes drastically with the changes of the next season. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm up to at this point of time, and hopefully we will be able to continue with the same momentum or even a better momentum and get to legend the next season as well. As I said, like as you have been watching, Chandelure is just deleting those steel types away, and moving on to the next one, let's see what my opponent decides to bring in. And they come in with a Togekiss mirror matchup. So here, since Togekiss is weak to the steel types, they generally run some a counter for Metagross and Excadrill. So the best counter for this is obviously Gyarados, and they are most likely to have a waterfall Gyarados in the back. So they do not shield my charge move, and I think we started on a desync there, which allowed my opponent to get desynced and not be able to throw the charge move. They bring in their Chandelure, and they also have their Gyarados in the back, so it's actually a mirror team. And since they were running waterfall Gyarados, I think they really had nowhere to go. So unfortunately for my opponent, the start was a desync start, which did not allow them to get off properly, but it happens in GBL, so you don't really need to worry too much about it. So we are in this matchup now, and even though the Excadrill gets to 2 drill runs at this point of time, you can safely shield because the incinerates will just starts to add up, and as you can see, you will be able to farm down the Excadrill. Just make sure that if the opponent has some energy advantage or health advantage, you do need to account in that for. So the Dragonite, we take a massive chunk of its health, but we are not able to get to the another charge move, so they are still up for 2 shields, which is not quite good. And I didn't really know what was the lead. As I was talking about some other things. So they go for a Dragon Claw, we get a bit of lag there, and I was hoping that I might get third shield, but they have a Metagross in the back. So as you can see, Excadrill really had or not, it's not a Metagross, it's a Mamoswine. So regardless, Excadrill had a lot of play, but at this stage there is nothing much that I can do because and I think my opponent was running a triple shadow team as well. So kudos to my opponent, but yeah, there is no way that I can come in with against this particular lineup. So very well played from my opponent. GG's. Moving on to the next one, picking up a negative lead yet again, and now I make a swap to Gyarados, and again my opponent brings in Gyarados of their own. So let's see how this will pan out. So going for this crunch straight away, hoping to get an early debuff. My opponent shields, which is quite surprising, and I get a debuff. So this puts me in a really commanding position because here I can safely I can safely go for a no shield. They go for a crunch, which is fine with me because we will be able to outpace them to the next charge move. And I go for a Aqua Tail because I thought that they might be expecting to win the switch advantage, but that really did not happen, unfortunately. So we lose the switch advantage, but we have a shield advantage in this particular case. So I come in with Togekiss. I don't want to reveal yet that I have a Chandelure, and they have a Metagross, so they are ABA weak to Chandelure, and at this stage the game is basically finished for my opponent. There is nothing much they can do because by the time the Chandelure is done with the Metagross, the incinerates will just start to add up and dig into that Excadrill. So very well played from my opponent. GG's. Moving on to the next one, picking up a Shadow Gyarados Lead. So they bring in their Excadrill, and I immediately bring in my Chandelure because Chandelure do not want to see that Gyarados. And even though we would need to invest some shields in this matchup, I think I'm still comfortable investing some shields because One, like if I invest a shield, I'll definitely get that back because Gyarados will need to shield a Shadow Ball. So since my opponent shielded, and as you can see, Chandelure is laughing because he knows what's coming in. So we will be able to farm down the Excadrill. And yeah, if the Gyarados decides to come in, it will have to shield. Otherwise, I think a boosted Shadow Ball will just one shot this thing. So we go for the Shadow Ball straight away, and let's see if my opponent shields or not. My opponent does not shield, which one shots the Shadow Gyarados, and in comes Metagross, and Metagross really cannot do much against the Gyarados. I mean, if it was a waterfall Gyarados, I mean, the situation would have been much better. But if it's a psychic Metagross, I don't think even that would really help my opponent, and my opponent realizes that and quits the game. So that's pretty much it for the video, guys, and I hope you really enjoyed watching this one. And until next time, peace.